Alright guys, so my bike's already a little bit apart, but I'm going to explain to you how I would remove these front forks, okay? First thing I would do is just remove the windscreen. That's pretty basic with the, 5 bolts there? 6 bolts. Pull that off so that you can get inside of the cockpit a little bit easier. The next step you're going to want to do is remove the front fender, okay? The tire hugger. I actually have it over here somewhere. Let me get it for you. So basically, there's 4 bolts holding it on, 1, 2, 3, 4, and they pin right into the front forks. You can't miss those. There's also some holes for the brake lines that pin into a, I believe they go here, 2 little rivets. Okay, so you have to pop those out, and then there may be some lines on the back, I can't quite remember, but just remove everything off the front fender, and then what you're going to want to do is just kind of wiggle the fender up, and then you may have to pinch the back side of this and kind of pull sideways, and you should be able to get it out. You do have to pinch it though, that's what I noticed anyhow. Once you got your front fender off, okay, you're going to want to start loosening all the hardware, okay? So the first thing you're going to want to start to loosen while the bike's kind of just sitting on the ground is this fork cap bolt, this main cap bolt. I don't even have a socket big enough, unfortunately. I had to use this crescent wrench, so they're not on all that tight. You're going to turn the handlebars to one side basically, and just crack the torque on both of these, okay? After you broke the torque on these, you're going to want to take a small flathead and just set your rebound adjusters all the way to the softest setting, okay? 1, 2. You can do that off the bike. This is just what I'm doing, okay? So after you adjust those, you're going to want to take 10mm, and there's 2 bolts here, one for the actual triple tree and then one for the handlebars. They clip onto the fork as well, and then they come around and they're actually bolted into the triple tree here. So you just loosen that, you should be able to pull the fork right through, okay? And you're going to want to do that on both sides. So those are 10mm. And then if you look down the fork, and this is the tricky one, okay? You may want to remove your splash guard, which is held on, it should go this way, yeah. And it sits kind of, you know, underneath the, above the front wheel there. And it's just a couple of push pins, for me anyways. I'm not sure what you guys have, but. So yeah, once you got your splash guard removed there, you should be able to get in here with your 12mm and loosen off 4 bolts that hold the forks to the frame there, okay? Now that should be it on the top side. Now you're going to want to make your way down here. Once you've got your bolts done there, you come on down. You're going to have 2 12mm bolts on each side that hold the brake calipers on, because they're pinned to the actual forks, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4 on the other side, those will have to come off. And then we're going to we're going to break the torque on the axle nut, okay? So how you do this on this 01 and I believe it's 02 is you basically loosen these 2 off. These should be just 10mm. They should be on there pretty decent. Remove these, don't remove them, but break the torque quite a bit on them. And then make sure this side's still tight, okay? I don't know if you've noticed, but there's there's nothing to really grab there, and you don't want this axle nut to start spinning on you. So basically, once you keep that side tight, you're gonna grab yourself 27mm, and you should be able to break the torque on this thing. There, I just did. So, and then after that, you should be able to remove the bolts on the other side and pull this nut off and slide the axle through. Okay. Now, obviously, the most important part is that you're going to have to suspend the front of the bike, right? So they do make special stands that go up inside and they hook onto the frame. For me, I'm kind of lucky in my garage here. I got this I-beam with a hoist. I got a hoist attached to it. So I'm just going to go ahead and take chunk of rope or something, grab onto the triple tree. Now that I have everything loosened, I'm gonna just lift it up off the ground, and I should be able to remove everything there. Make sure your knots are good. Alright, so a little bit of MacGyvering off camera, but I got some zip ties and a let's see what here. So yeah, I got some zip ties and a bungee cord. I put a zip tie through the pin for the pads, hooked it on there, ran it up through the cockpit here, and I just hooked it onto my hoist that I'm using to suspend my bike. Just because, you know, the only other good spot is really to pin it to the forks, which we're going to be removing. So this just takes a bit of the weight off there. This one's still got a bit of weight, but really it's not too bad. So I'll keep going now. I think I'm going to try and pull the axle nut. All right, so I thought I'd just zoom in here. So that side's tight, and you're gonna work this this nut off with the 27mm, which is essentially gonna unthread, probably hard to see off on camera here at the lighting, but unthread the actual axle from the axle nut, which is actually on this side. Okay, so then I went ahead, I loosened these two off, and I kind of wiggled it. Now I'm ready to pull the axle right through, and then take the nut with me, and I can leave these 4 bolts in the forks. Pretty basic, but you know, if you've never done it before, then it can be a little intimidating. But we got the forks out of the bike. The next step in this video series is to build our own fork tools. The Suzuki special tools that they require are pretty expensive. You can find some aftermarket, you know, Chinese knockoffs on eBay and stuff like that. By the time you pay for them, shipping, all that stuff, especially we're up here in Canada, so everything's expensive. I think I'm just going to go ahead and try to build my own. So that'll be the next video, okay? So I'll go over what you got to pick up at Home Depot. And I've never actually built the fork tools for this bike. Never actually even done fork seals on this bike before. So I'll be learning just like you guys. So stay tuned for the next video. And yeah, we'll get after it.